All right, guys, Jillian's been living in Costa Rica 9 years and she's finally decided to build a big ass house. So we're gonna be actually touring the house. If you're thinking about living in Costa Rica and maybe possibly building at some point, you're definitely gonna want to watch this video. Now, normally I advise people, if you don't know nothing about building, and especially in Costa Rica, you probably shouldn't build in Costa Rica. But I think Jillian's got some good things to say. She knows the do's and the don'ts. We're gonna talk to her all about it right after this. Hey guys, I'm Michael Allen for Travel Costa Rica NOW Real Estate. Guys, we have a lot of different properties on our site, but man, we need your help. Please hit the subscribe button. YouTube doesn't care if you subscribe though. If you wanna see real estate when we put it up or videos like this when we put it up, you gotta hit the notification bell. We totally would appreciate it. Jillian, this is gonna be fun.
Fun.
All right, so first of all, we're in our town, La Fortuna, and we are on, this property is how big?
5,250 square meters.
I think it's cool when you say acre.
1.3 acres.
Acre. And actually,
1.3 acres.
This is your farming
This
thing
is
right
our
here.
organic garden, yes.
All right, do you want to get in front of us as we walk? Or oh, say hi, D'Angelo.
Hi, D'Angelo.
Hi, D'Angelo.
All right, so let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
This has been, you bought the land like a long time ago. Is that true?
8 years ago, we bought the land. My mom and I own the land.
Okay, so and it was always going to be something.
It was always going to be something, but we took a big break because we weren't sure. Again, the building thing, we were like, okay, we own the land, but now what do we do with it?
Now, back when you were first starting out, you kind of, I'm sure you knew you know what people say about building here, it can be pretty tough if you don't have the right people around you. Were you a little apprehensive at all, or you always?
It took us 3 years to pick an architect and then another 10 or 11 months to design the house.
So would you say an architect might be the most important person, kind of, as far as, I mean, you got to trust this person.
Yes, a lot of times when you have somebody come and help you build your house, the architect does the plans and then they come and check every week and they do the updates. Then you have a project manager who would, you know, oversee all of the buying and all of that nature. You can pay somebody to do it or you do it yourself. We have full-time jobs and there's no way that I wanted to be responsible for buying every little piece of a house that I have no idea what I'm trying to purchase. So
those two people have got to be the trusted.
They do. And in our case, we hired the architect, not even a project manager, because he designed the house. He knows the ins and outs. He knows every little corner. And that was really important to me.
So he's doing both.
He's doing both.
I know, we just met him. He's over there.
Yes.
So he's doing kind of.
Yes, we'll put his information in the video.
Kind of both. So checking out the garden.
Yeah, I'll take you guys for a tour in there. It's pretty amazing, actually.
So you didn't feel any stress like building? You weren't worried about all the horror stories of people building here and getting ripped off by their project manager, getting ripped off by their architect? How'd you find, how'd you find your architect?
So how I found, originally I had an architect from San Jose. She was amazing. She's extremely sweet, very educated, made me feel comfortable in a lot of the aspects moving up to, you know, to deciding to go ahead and move forward. And then we said, you know what, let's look for somebody local. There was a few things, you know, you need to know the municipality, you need to know the ins and outs of the water company here. And outsiders are not going to have nearly as much success as somebody who has been here.
Like knowing like the different zoning things and all that kind of stuff?
Knowing the managers are helpful, you know, being friendly with the managers of all these different places is very helpful. Them knowing you and you knowing them. So that was super important.
How much were you working with the architect, you and your partner working with the architect?
Daily. We still are here daily. Like, he's here doing all of this, but all the little details that are in your head, no matter how many times you try to tell somebody, unless you're standing there when it happens, it's going to look different than what you think.
Wait, I think you need to say that again, because that's a very important thing, and a lot of people bring that up, that you got to kind of oversee some of this stuff, like over the shoulder watching.
Yes. So like today we'll go inside, you can see we're going to be building the kitchen counter structure, and we've been down to like inching it, and they're talking about, you know, what tile's going to go on this side, you know, no wood around the sink, you know, these are all things that they had already put in. There was all wood. We had to change all of it. But that's what's great about this process, is that my architect is really willing to learn and understand that all of these things are important.
What you want.
Yeah.
So we don't have to obviously talk about specific costs, but how are you feeling about how the cost part of doing all this is going? Are you getting, I don't know, do you feel like you're getting nickeled and dimed? Do you put out a big deposit down in the beginning for your architect? How does the structure work on that?
So we paid for our plans separately. Like our designing the house is separate. That's the first stage. You pay, it's a different contract with just the architect. Then you come into the building portion of it, and do you want them to just oversee it and you're going to project manage and you're going to get all the permits yourself, and some people feel that they can do that. And if you can, it'll save you a lot of money, but most people don't.
And can't.
And it's not that much more to pay somebody who knows what they're doing. I feel like every penny that we've paid for the architect has been worth it. So I would say right now, like the last time he told me, because he has projects that he's doing, he says that, nothing, it's all going to be about your finishes. But if you have standard middle of the road finishes, it's between $1,000 and $1,200 a square foot to build a decent, something like you're going to see.
Well, this is a pretty big ass house, Jillian. Go big or go home, right? Go big or go home. I love the big patios, and I can't wait to. I wish it was out, but you have one of the best views of the volcano in all of the town.
Probably, we're pretty excited.
There's no
about
wires
that.
in the front of it.
No.
There's no nothing.
And we've been crossing our fingers for 9 years that it would stay this way, or 8 years that we've had it, and we're so lucky that it's stay this way for a bit longer.
But looking back on this process of starting it, it's not over yet, but starting it, have you looked back and go, we should have probably maybe done this thing different? Have you been upset at anything, like you maybe wrong call or?
When we very first started, and I'll give you a video so you can show everybody when they're sticking the literal poles into the ground to start, shaping everything. I couldn't tell how wide something was or how big it was originally. So by the time that I could tell how wide the hallways were, it was too late. The walls were in. And I would have widened them about 6 inches. So it was because of the system that we used. That's a whole other thing. When you probably have 5 or 6 ways to put up walls. What we found out is they're all about the same cost, no matter what you do. So I was trying to save money. I don't know if you're gonna get the shot, but down at the bottom it's cement, and we could have gone all the way up. And I thought, well, maybe it'll be less expensive if we use siding. It's not cement, all of the, in the end, the structure that's underneath to hold the siding and everything else, the cost was the same no matter what we did. So then it was about aesthetics and that nature.
So what do you think about, a lot of times the stories, maybe not here, but some of the stories are when they're building your house, they are not always using the best of materials. Like for instance, the piping or the.
Correct. We were here every day. In the contracts, we asked for, bigger than normal piping. Obviously the house is bigger, so we asked him to take all of that into account. We have 2 septic systems for just this house. There's one here, and they're building a second one that you can see right over there for the other bathroom. So we made sure in the design and working with him as well that there was plenty of resources for that type of thing. We actually asked for an inspection. So the way that a lot of the houses are done here is that everything's buried in concrete, right? Even the pipes.
What is that? What is up with that? Because if something goes wrong, they gotta.
Yes, that's the way.
Sledgehammer the concrete to get to the pipe. That's the weirdest thing ever.
And a lot of times they put them in, they put the cement on, and then they check the systems. Oh, something's wrong. So what I asked for was that they check the water systems and all the piping in the house before they laid the cement. And they found something, and they're like, no way, we're going to do it like this from now on.
Oh my God, so much common sense there. That's so cray-cray.
So we put in a few clauses in there to kind of help him not make the mistake and help us catch the mistake. So it was kind of like a start-stop, like you can't go any further until we approve it. And that helps. Because if they just keep going,
they'll just keep going.
They just keep going. And that's something that we learned on this project too. Like every time we talked about something, the doors. Okay, you have to, we had to have a meeting. And there was pictures and
How much does your partner Arturo know about building? Was he? He's a
Zero.
chef, so that doesn't mean he knows about building, and he
Nothing.
is Tico, but that doesn't mean he knows about building.
No, nothing. It was, we both were just kind of like, he can understand what they're saying more, and a couple of things like they use different words that I had to kind of get used to, so I didn't know what they were talking about at first, but now,
Actually, how did you find this architect?
he's here in town. Okay, so the way that I went to my neighbor, our neighbor is very, very well known and loved in town, and so I went and talked to him, and I said,
you got a nice
"Who
house
built-"
right there, by the way.
He does.
Yes.
So I said, who built your house? And he told me. And then we found out that he also designed this recycling center. So Actually, our architect.
Seems like a good bet.
Yeah, he designed all the buildings on the street.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's kind of go in and cruise around.
Sure. I think you should see my roosters first, though.
We can see the roosters.
They're super cool. So the
We'll
one
get you into all this.
well, the restaurant, you know, now we have our first eggs and we have meat chickens. This is probably our third round of meat chickens. But we have 2 roosters. That is Kaler back there. Jake caught him. We were at a doctor's house. Arturo was doing a dinner for a doctor. And they said, if you can catch the chicken, it's yours. And Jake was pretty sure it was a female, so he named it Kaylee. And then obviously as she grew, we now have Kaler the rooster. He's beautiful. And then we got Kaler a friend, and this is Chili. Chili's a Chilicano, and he has no hair on his neck.
We might as well do a shout out to what you do. You and your partner Arturo, he's a chef, and you guys do high-end catering.
High-end dining experiences on location at Airbnbs, vacation rentals.
I've had the food.
Over.
I've had the food. All right, but this isn't about food today.
Not
Jillian.
today, not today.
Let's go.
This is about the house.
Okay, so did we say when you started? November, right?
November is when we broke ground.
And then you had, but you said you had a little lull there for a couple.
Yeah, the actual, what we call obra gris, which is the gray part of the house, putting up the walls, all of that stuff, that happened really fast. I would say within 8-10 weeks, we had most of the structure. And then it's been all this detail.
What's this?
That has to go. This is going to be a bedroom. This will be 1 bedroom over here, the front door.
Now, are all your materials coming locally, or are you getting anything from, are you doing anything like so custom that you have to get it somewhere else?
No, that was the idea in this house, was to kind of keep it as simple as possible with local supplies to see what we could get. The only thing that I am bringing in are door handles and faucets and showers, just because the quality
From
here.
where?
From the States. My mom's bringing it down.
Yeah. Check out this living room, kitchen, dining area. Party central right here, Jillian.
Totally. And with the view, look, she's coming out. This volcano, this Arenal is coming out.
All right, guys, we're going to pop up a picture because it's not out. She has got, that is the Arenal volcano, smack dab on your volcano side of your house.
Yes.
And we're going to throw up that picture just so people realize how good you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's kind of been our hidden secret. I haven't brought you guys out here till today, you know?
You know
like,
what? I know I keep saying this, but I love patios in Costa Rica. There's so much options you can do because of, really?
1 second.
Because of the weather. I just think.
I'm going to ask them to stop it for a second.
Yeah, we just need a couple minutes. Just 5 minutos.
Pardon.
Okay. Go. Rudely interrupt. No, I love the patios, man. What's your plan out here? Can we do a sports bar?
Anything we want. I mean, right now the patio, the idea is, okay, so one of the things that I kind of conceded on were windows. Windows, there's not a lot of options. There's like 3 or 4 providers on a financial level that you would be comfortable with. Yes, you can get anything custom. You can spend as much money as you want. But if you're trying to stay within your means and at that $1,000, $1,200.
Well, you could nickel and dime to $100,000 in a minute with a house, really.
I mean, we would go into some places and some of those really cute tiles or whatever, that's $400 a sheet. I was like, yeah, no. So, like the floors, for example, they were 9,700 colones a square meter, which is very good.
That's about 15 bucks.
Yeah. So, but they can go up to however much. So those are the things that are going to make the house more expensive and not. The Obergris part, the gray work, is what is kind of like standard amongst homes.
Have they made any mistakes along the way that you've noticed that you had to get corrected?
Yes.
And are they cool with that?
Yes, but my architect is so level-headed. Like he's
understands.
No worries. I mean, when I first started this project, I was so like, all the time. But he's the one who's like, look, everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna fix it. I was like, okay.
I know I've said it already 3 times in this video, but I don't. People cannot underestimate how important the architect and the property manager is in these.
And you
buildings.
have to be here or have somebody almost every day. We come in the morning, say hi to everybody, know who's working on the house. We come at lunchtime, sometimes drop off a snack. I mean, we're here all the time.
After 16 years, we have stories where people have had their building being done like this, and they're in the United States or something. You're going, what the hell are you doing?
Right. Not a good. It's just because, again, like, they can't read your mind. It's not. It's just.
And they keep going, and they keep going. They just say, oh, I didn't hear anything. I'll just keep building.
What I've tried to do with our architect, because I really want to help more people in La Fortuna build houses, because I fully feel right now there is nothing built in La Fortuna that's worth buying. You can build something for the same amount of money or less.
That was a strong comment.
I'm sorry.
No, that was good. I like it. That was good.
I mean, if you want to
true
have a
is
house,
true, right?
if you want to have a house, at least they're your mistakes. They're not somebody else's that something else happened and you can't fix. Like we said, most of the plumbing is going to be buried. So if there's a problem with the house you bought, you're going to be digging it up anyway and building a new house, essentially.
I think there's the reason I usually tell people not to buy if they don't know what they're doing, which I still kind of stand by that. But if you do know what you're doing and you surround yourself with the right people and you are involved, obviously you cut your risk factor and all that kind of down to, very minimal. And
you can't expect your house to be like it's going to be in the States. You don't have the same availability. And again, you can hire people that might be able to do it, but that's just going to keep increasing the cost. So those are the variabilities, essentially.
I think a lot of people like to say there's no one perfect house. There's always a little thing. There's always something that, you don't really care for or you would have done different. I guess you keep mentioning the hallway, so it sounds like it's the hallway you're gonna be walking down them at night going, damn it.
Good thing they're only like 5 feet long. The hallways they're hardly any hallways, so we're good.
Let's just walk over here real quick
and check it out.
Yeah. So it's the dining room, kitchen, living room separate the two sides of the bedrooms, basically, right?
The idea was because we have such an amazing view that we made the house as long as possible so that as many rooms had views as possible. That was the idea.
So this is the master.
This is the master bedroom. And then there's a bedroom on the other side. So this whole thing is going to have volcano views, including from the shower.
Yeah, there's people back there.
There's people back there.
They have a bathroom, trust me, it's nice.
We can go through, there's people in here. Yeah, they're trying to. You can see here's the shower, and what I'm really stoked about are my new tile shower, my floor tiles.
Oh, those are good.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, those are nice.
Natural stone. Cool, no? Again, my architect, I go, okay, this is what I want. And I'm like, okay, source it. And he's really good in San Jose. He took us twice to San Jose to go shopping. He drove us, so it was like super stress-free. Took us to the stores, knew the people. We had all these pictures. We came back, and then he was able to call and talk to them that way, so it didn't feel so pressured, like you had a minute to think.
So it looks close. How far are we away?
Okay, so probably 30 to 45 days. The holdup was the windows. This lovely window, these two windows over here, are huge. I want a sliding window, like one that folds against the wall here.
Right.
Just the window is another $2,000 just for that style. So for now, it's going to be a regular slider until we move in, see what we like, what we don't like.
But all they're doing on the cabinets and all the woodwork is going to be?
That's this. So the counters and everything, the structure's made out of metal so that we don't have to worry about wood breaking down over time. It'll be wood veneered on some of it. And then some of it will be metal.
What's the top? Is it wood or
It's called
granite
calicata. So it's like a fake marble, but it's a granite. It's a stone.
Nice.
So it'll be white with some gray going through it.
So it doesn't look like you have any regret doing this.
Not yet.
Well, I think
we're past that.
Isn't the hard time over, really, basically?
Honestly, the details are frustrating. A little tile, a little crooked, and this and that. That's me too, but I'm sure somebody building a house wants to see it perfect. So we've had to go back and take stuff out and redo it. So that's what's taking a long time. Picking paint was way harder than I anticipated.
Really?
Yeah.
I just don't want you to be that person that everybody that I've ever interviewed about building always say this. They loved their finished project, but they'd never do that shit again. The process was too hard. too fraught with peril. People were ripping off their lumber. You know, I was just, but they loved the finished product, but it just.
I've had a pretty good experience, I have to be honest. I mean, we're building number 2 already. As soon as this is done, we start over there.
Damn, Jillian, where's my house going to be here? Can I be in the back
Wherever you
somewhere?
like, sure.
Yes. I like this. I mean, you got no neighbors. Again, we put up that volcano shot, man. I can see why everything is pointed in this direction for sure.
Yeah, we're pretty happy about this.
All right, can we think of any other questions, D'Angelo? I don't know. I think we covered everything. So you're a thumbs up on building if you do it right.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, one of my goals, like we have a business. I'm not looking for another job, but my idea is to help this architect explain things or give options in more of a way that is relatable for us to understand. Like for the windows, let me give you a perfect example. You can have windows, you can have plain windows that just have regular glass in them. The next step up is like laminated windows, which is security windows, so they don't break. You can punch them and there's a film and they'll shatter, but you can't get through them. They also do UV and all kinds of other stuff. So that's the next level up, you pay for that. Then there's screens. Most people don't do screens, so I had to get a whole separate quote. It took me 10 days to get them to break it down into, this is how much it costs you for regular windows, this is how much it costs you more for lamination, and this is how much more it costs you for the screens.
You are getting screens, right?
Yes.
Screens are kind of big. I think you need screens.
We did screens over air conditioning, actually, for now, because we're not putting air conditioning in the house right now.
Well, I guess we'll find out, right? I don't have air conditioning. I mean, I know most people don't run their air here too much, I don't think.
We do and we don't. We have 2 air conditioners already. The thing is like, the way that we designed the house, there's airflow going through 4 points from east to west, and that's the way that the wind blows.
Right.
So if it's ventilated correctly and we have a few room fans, I don't think we're gonna need air conditioning on a regular. To temperature control things, like you don't want your sheets going moldy, your clothes, your food, that will work on.
That's called a dryer.
That, and we're gonna have dry rooms for the restaurant, and we're gonna have walk-in freezers. So that's all gonna be taken care of.
I don't think you're gonna need air. I think you're gonna have a nice flow through here. I don't think
it makes it more usable inside outside, and that was the whole idea. Even with the color of the house was green and brown, and it's supposed to be kind of like a tree and nature, and you know, kind of more open. We don't want the doors closed and sitting behind air conditioners.
Right. So. There you go. All right, Jillian, thank you so much for talking to us. Hope you guys learned a little bit. Can't wait till she builds my house out here in the back. I'm Michael Allen, Travel Costa Rica Now Real Estate, man. Please subscribe. D'Angelo, say bye.
Ciao.